Way too much. Need more coffee immediately.
Everything hurts and I'm dying. This is Everything Hurts and I'm Dying, the podcast to remind you that health and fitness is for everyone. It doesn't have to be miserable. You're allowed to enjoy yourself. Join me, your host, Julia Krause, as we navigate together through the world of toxic fitness, six-pack abs, Instagram booties, and no days off to find real human experiences. Our world is different. It is inclusive and accessible. It is fun and challenging. It is friendly and supportive. It is open, real, honest, vulnerable, and brave. Everyone's journey of health and fitness is different, as it should be, and I'm here to help you along on yours. Welcome. You belong here. Everything hurts and I'm dying.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Everything Hurts and I'm Dying. I'm your host, Julia Krause, and this is your podcast about health and fitness things that relate to health and fitness. Everybody's journey is different, and I want to hear about yours, but for now, it's just me, and you gonna hear about mine. So the topic of today is the truck pull. I know that we have talked a little bit in the past couple weeks about me training for a truck pull, but a couple weeks ago, I actually did it, and I'm super, super excited to tell you guys all about it. Stay tuned. It's going to be a really fun episode.
Everything hurts and I'm dying.
So, as you guys know, I'm trying so hard not to laugh because Tony and I are just already having a blast in here. Hi, Tony, by the way. Tony's here. Hi, Tony.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Okay, so I was competing in a truck pull a couple weeks ago, and I'm really excited to tell you guys all about it. So the truck pull was a charity event for SANS, which is a stillborn and neonatal death charity. We'll send the link below in the show notes for this episode and the other episodes that mention it as well. It's a really good cause, so definitely feel free to donate if you have an extra 5 or 10 or 50 pounds lying around. Please donate to the cause because it's wonderful. So we did a truck pull for this charity, and it was a competition, and there were 3 trucks that needed to be pulled by us as individuals. So we all competed individually. It wasn't a team thing. It was just us. And the first truck was 13.7 tons. The second truck was 20 tons. And the third truck was 53 tons. And so going into it, my goal was to just try to move the first truck, the 13.7 ton truck, like as much as I can, because your score is distance and time. And so the distance was 20 meters. And so basically pulling the truck as fast as you can for 20 meters. And that was your score. All 3 trucks combined was your score. So my goal was to try to move the 13.7 ton truck as quickly as I possibly could. And then what was ever left in the tank for the 20 ton truck, just move that the best I could. And then I didn't think I was going to be able to move the 53 ton truck at all. Because I saw some of the other guys in the competition talking about it on the Facebook group, and they were like, "Oh, I just hope I get to just move it. Like, if I can just move it, I'll be proud." And these are like big guys. These guys are like triple my body weight easily. And so I was like, well, shit. Like, if these guys are nervous about just moving the truck, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to move the truck. So I was hoping to just do as well as I could with the first 2. Spoiler alert, moved all 3 of those trucks, didn't I? And I got second place in the competition. But we will get more into that later on as we talk more about it. So basically, I went to this truck pull, and I went with my 2 best friends, Tom and Emma, who are married, and I love them to death. They're kind of like, it's always fun having kind of married friends and being part of that I felt like a little third wheel, but also kind of like their kid at the same time. It was a very interesting dynamic because I'm sitting in the back seat and the 2 of them are in the front, and they're like, "Are you excited for today, Julia?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am excited." Like having my little snacks in the back seat, whinging about the music as well, being like, can we turn the channel? Tom's like, "I'm sick of you whining in the back." I'm like, "Tom, we're the same age. Stop talking down to me." So, it was really funny as well because Tom was also competing. And it was obviously the guys category and the girls category. There were 36 competitors total, 30 men, 6 women. And yeah, it was so much fun. It was so cool, but we didn't really know that at the time. Driving to the event, and myself, Tom, and Emma are in the car together. and we just turn the corner, and Tom and I see the trucks that we're about to pull, and the whole energy in the car just shifted significantly. It went from chatty, like, oh, just having snacks and whatever, to just like, whoa, and like quiet and focused. And it was so intense of an energy shift. And so we get out of the car. Obviously, everybody's just shitting themselves with fear. And we go, and there's like the introductory sort of session. So the guy who organized it, Peter Hibbard, who is amazing and lovely, he kind of brings all the competitors together, and he's like, hey guys, you know, gives kind of the welcome spiel and all that stuff. And gosh, I'm looking around and I'm like, I'm the smallest one here. I'm the smallest person with all these guys. I also am the smallest girl. And that, like, what we're all, it wasn't by weight class. It was just all women, all men. And everyone was just grouped together by gender. And that was your, like, competition. And it was like, Jesus Christ, like, I feel so small. And that really brings up an interesting dynamic that I was thinking about the day before as I was scoping the other competitors. Like, it's no secret that, you know, I work in the health and fitness industry, and I'm a woman, and my entire life I've been dieting. You know, I've been trying to get thinner and smaller, you know, dieting and restricting food and counting calories and exercising and just trying to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I was competing in a truck pull, and my first thought process was that I am not big enough. I am not big enough. And having spent an entire lifetime trying to get smaller, and then finally being in a space and in a competition where you need to be bigger, it really, like, does something for the way that you view your body. Like, it's such a cool mindset shift, because you go from thinking that you need to be thinner and smaller to thinking of your body more like a tool or a method in which you can do the things, like a vessel almost. Like, I was just like, I'm not big enough. And it was really, I really liked that thought. And I really liked, again, everybody's journey of health and fitness is different, and I understand that everybody has different goals. But for me personally, it felt really good to be in a space where I was encouraged to be bigger, where I was encouraged to eat more and get stronger so I could pull those trucks faster and better. And I really like that as part of my own journey, and it's something for you guys to consider as well. Again, everybody's journey is different, but if you have spent a significant amount of time trying to diet and get smaller and thinner or whatever, maybe consider looking into some events or competitions or just general places and spaces where you're encouraged to be bigger and to take up more space and to get stronger and to sort of be more physically large.
Everything hurts and I'm dying.
Alrighty, so coming back into it, talking about how I would like to encourage you guys to find places and spaces where you're encouraged to be bigger instead of smaller. And so that also goes along with, again, when I was walking in, looking at all the other competitors and feeling really small and being like, oh shit, like I am way too small to be competing in this sport against all these people. I had to say that with a funny accent. I don't know why. I don't know. It kind of made me think a lot about it because, like, I'm a confidence coach, right? I teach confidence for a living, and I'm honestly probably one of the most self-confident people you'll ever meet. Like, I'm very secure in myself. I'm very confident, and again, yeah, I teach this for a living, and I'm good at it, she says, with confidence. And so, but I'm there and feeling a bit insecure and being like, oh God, like I'm so tiny. And I was just kind of sitting with those feelings and thoughts of being like, why do I feel insecure right now? And I think it's something for you guys to realize that even though, like, even the most secure people feel insecure sometimes. You know, again, I teach confidence for a living. I'm very confident in myself, and I still feel unconfident sometimes as well. It is a natural human feeling. It is a natural human experience. And so something I would like to say is to feel the fear and do it anyways, right? I was scared shitless. Feel the fear and do it anyways. Do the scary thing. Like, this was way out of my comfort zone. I was in some parking lot in the middle of London, and I don't really like leaving Cambridge very much, fun fact. I kind of have like my little bubble in my little comfort zone, and I don't like stepping out of it. And for me to be in a parking lot in the middle of nowhere in London, like, it was definitely out of my comfort zone. Not to mention the fact that I was pulling 86 tons of truck in this parking lot as well. Like, what a Herculean task to have set before you. And like, it was so scary, y'all. And so there's me feeling small, feeling terrified, but feeling the fear and doing it anyways. Because you damn right, I strapped up, I put that harness on, and I went for it. So the very first truck, I'd obviously never pulled a truck before. I had no idea what I was doing. And so the very first truck I pulled, there was a very, like, it felt like it was about half an hour trying to get it started. I was trying so hard to pull this thing, and it was not moving. And I was like, oh my God, what if this doesn't go? What if this doesn't even move at all and it's the first truck? There goes my whole plan to like pull the first truck really fast. Like, my plan went out the window because this truck was not moving. I'd never pulled a truck before, and I was just like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And so pull. Eventually it starts moving, and I just, thank God it starts moving. And I just pull it as fast as I can, dive for the finish line, and there it is. First truck, done. Bosh. And it was absolutely hilarious because, yeah, there was a very steep learning curve between the first truck and the second truck. So by the time it was time to pull the second truck, the 20-ton truck, I'd kind of figured out how to like start it a little bit better. So spoiler alert, if you're planning to pull a truck anytime soon, it's all about the start. So you want to try to basically kind of squat into it and explode forward as much as you possibly can, because obviously it's just physics. Objects in motion stay in motion. Objects at rest stay at rest. And so you need to like do everything you can to start the truck, because then once it starts to get into motion, the momentum does make it a bit easier. And then it just goes about just continuing that momentum forward. But getting it started is the hardest part. So by the time I reached the 20-ton truck, which is the second one, I'd kind of figured it out a little bit. And it started, and it was way better. And it was so funny because the scorekeeping lady came up to me and she goes, "You pulled the second truck 10 seconds faster than you pulled the first truck." And I was like, that is a very steep learning curve.
Everything hurts and I'm dying.
So, the third truck, 53 tons. Everyone is scared shitless, including the men. Nobody knows how to pull a 53-ton truck because nobody's ever done it before. There's 36 of us. We're all sitting there, staring at each other, twiddling our thumbs, wondering what the fuck to do. So the first guy goes, and he's not able to pull it. He pulls it about halfway. Gas is out, which means that he just wasn't able to finish. And there's medics on site, and so the medics get called in, and he's really struggling, and he didn't pull it the whole way, and we all just saw this happen, and we were like, oh my God. The second guy goes, and the second guy doesn't finish pulling it all the way either. And by the time the second guy went, all of the competitors basically had the same thought process. We all just looked at each other and we were like, shit, like, this isn't possible. Like, this cannot be done. And everyone got real serious real quick and just was like, fuck, like, everyone's scared. You know, no one's feeling confident in their truck pulling abilities, especially after seeing the first guys not be able to do it. It was a lot. The third guy goes, and he gets really, really close, and all of the competitors are like, oh my God, go, go, go. And he does it and gets it and dives to the finish line, and all of us just go mad because we're like, oh, it can be done. Like, oh, thank God, like, someone can do this. Like, oh, it was such a good realization. And so side note about me, everybody knows that I'm a professional hype girl and that I'm constantly hyping people up and I'm constantly giving people encouragement and love and kindness. And so even though I was competing with the other women, I still was trying to like support them as much as I possibly could. So there was like a little like waiting area for the athletes that were about to go and pull the truck. And so I happened to just, my little spot happened to just be by that waiting area. So you damn right, every single woman that went into that waiting area, I was right by her side, helping hype her up, helping her get her harness on, being like, you know, you can do this, like, you've got this, you know, all this stuff. Just really giving them as much positivity and encouragement as I possibly could. Even though these were my direct competitors, like, it was still really cool to have a bunch of women, like, competing in the first place. And it was actually really funny because we all had just, like, this instant bond and, like, this instant sisterhood of being like, there's a bunch of giant fucking men here. Like, we sisters need to stick together. And stick together we did. It was actually, like, beautiful. Like, they were so encouraging for me. I was so encouraging for them. Like, yeah, just instant bond of just pure necessity, I feel, but a genuine bond nonetheless. And so, back to us pulling this 53-ton truck and nobody being able to do it, and then the first guy does it. And then the first girl is getting ready to go, and the first guy manages to do it. And I just look at that girl, and I'm like, listen, it can be done. This guy just showed it can be done. And if he can do it, you can do it. If anyone can do it, you can do this. It can be done. It can be done. It can be done. And she's like, okay, it can be done. I'm like, it can be done. It can be done. And so she goes out and she fucking pulls it. She pulls it the whole way. And I was just like, oh my God, everybody just lost their minds because no one was expecting any of the women to be able to pull it. And she gets out there, the very first woman, and she pulls it across the finish line, dives for it, kills it. Ah, yes. Just pure joy. Like, I was probably more excited to see her pull it than I was to see myself pull it because she was the very first one to do it. And I know those feelings. I know that she was absolutely shitting herself. And to be able to watch her fight through that was very inspiring. So, yeah, so she pulls it. And I was like, listen, if that guy can pull it and she can pull it, I can pull it. I can do this. I can do this. And so I get up there and the guys... we're all kind of talking shit a little bit as well because obviously it is a competition, mind you. So while I'm encouraging the women with everything I have on one side, I'm talking mad shit with the guys on the other side. And they're giving me a hard time and I'm giving them a hard time. And like before I was pulling the trucks, I'd practiced with my friend Shaban, whom you know on this podcast. She is the fantastic powerlifting goddess world champion extraordinaire. She let me pull her car a few times, like around the parking lot and stuff on a few different days. And that was how I practiced. And she has an Audi. And so I'm putting the harness on, getting ready to pull the trucks. And one of the guys just shouts at me and he goes, "It's a bit heavier than an Audi, isn't it, Julia?" And I just shout back, "Why are you stalking my social media?" Put the harness on, get my game face on, and I get ready to pull.
Everything hurts and I'm dying.
Really quick side note about the encouraging the other female competitors. I've always prided myself on being competitive, and we've talked about it before on this podcast. All the trainers and stuff at the gym, we're all very competitive, blah, 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 blah. I am a little concerned that I'm not as competitive as I think I am. Because, like, part of me thinks that I'm super competitive and really balls to the wall, aggressive, etc., etc. But then here I am hyping up the other women, my direct competition, hyping them up and trying to ensure that they perform the best that they possibly can. And just being like, you've got this. Like, I was like giving my heart and soul into trying to encourage them. And they are my direct competitors. And I feel like someone who's super competitive would not do that. I'm not sure. You guys should let me know in the comments, like, if you think that this is actually competitive or not. I'd be very curious to see what you guys think. So maybe I'm not as competitive as I think I am, but this also goes back a little bit to what we were talking about last week and kind of staying in your own lane is like, at the end of the day, we're only really competing with ourselves. And so like, why not like hype up your competitors? Because honestly, let's not forget, like, it's a charity event. We're out there, we're pulling trucks for charity. We're raising money for charity. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who wins or who loses. Like, it's a charity event. Calm down, Julia. But yeah, I don't know. I was definitely just competing with myself and I'm just trying to pull a fucking truck, aren't I? And so that was where the competition was in my head, I think, was like, I wasn't actually going out there to directly beat like these women. I would have liked to, obviously get like first, second, or third place. Obviously, who doesn't? But I think in my head, what I was thinking was that I'm just out here, I'm just going to do the best I can, and I'm just going to pull these trucks the best I can, including the 53-ton truck. And so I'm out there, and this truck is massive. If you guys look at my Instagram, you can see the size comparison. This truck is like gargantuan. And I am just, again, going back to how I was feeling when the day started, I just felt like this tiny little thing that was not big enough to pull this fucking truck. So we go, I'm strapped up, ready to go. Everyone's cheering my name. And, the guy counts it off, 3, 2, 1, go. And I just pull as hard as I can. I use my legs, I use my arms, I use my abs. I just do everything I can to get this truck going. And I swear it takes less time than the first truck. The 13.7 truck moved, I feel like I started that one significantly slower than I moved the 53-ton truck. So the 53-ton truck starts moving, and I'm like, oh, the momentum! Like, I got it to move! Like, keep the momentum, keep the momentum, keep the momentum. And I'm going, and I'm about like 2 meters away from the finish line, and everyone's just screaming their heads off. And I feel the truck starting to slow down. And there's nothing worse than feeling 53 tons pulling you backwards. I'm like, oh my God, it's slowing down. Oh my God, it's slowing down. Oh my God, it's slowing down. I can't let it slow down, because if this truck stops, I'm fucked and I'm not going to be able to start it again. Go, 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 go. And so I just like turn on the afterburners, and I just fucking Hulk out and just get in there, pull it so hard to finish through that finish line. Whack, dive for the finish line. Everyone's screaming. It was absolutely insane. The announcer comes up with the microphone, obviously in my face. Thanks, Martin. You're coming on this podcast soon, too. Don't think you're avoiding it, because you're not. Comes up and he's like, Julie, you just pulled a 53-ton truck. How do you feel? And I'm like, well, it was really hard, but I've worked really hard for it. And I hope to see more women out here next time. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And that's genuinely how I felt. Like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. If you work hard to do anything, you can do that thing. Like, all things are achievable if you work for them. And whether it's a 53-ton truck or a promotion at your job, or, getting a little bit healthier or more fit, or, improving your mile times, or making that heavy lift, or climbing that mountain, like, literally anything is possible if you work hard enough to put yourself in the best position for it. And so pulled the 53-ton truck. I could not believe it. I ended up getting second place in the competition. It was so cool. It was such a good experience. I'm so grateful for everybody that participated and made it really special. Everybody there was awesome.
Everything hurts and I'm dying.
So, yeah, all the guys out there were super nice, super friendly. Even though we were talking shit, it was all still super fun. They were really kind. Like, it was a really, really great experience. And even though it was completely out of my comfort zone and I was scared shitless, it was so much fun. It was such a cool experience, and putting yourself out there and doing something really scary, and doing something that you've worked hard for as well. My training was tough for it. The day after, all the competitors and stuff, we all have a little Facebook group. We were all checking in on each other, saying like, how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? And to be honest, the next day, I felt fine. And that's because my training for this event was significantly harder than the event itself. And I think that if you guys are to train for any sort of competition or event or anything, I would advise to train harder in training than the competition. And because of that, just put yourself in the best, position possible to be successful at doing the thing. So definitely don't neglect your training. Train really, really hard. Train overly hard for a little bit, harder than the competition. And then obviously take a week off or ish before the competition to kind of like recalibrate your body, give your body a chance to rest before the competition. Do not push yourself right until the day before, because that is not going to put you in the best position, is it? So push, take a fucking break, and then have the competition. And then do well and live your best life. So it was super fun. I love it. I was really happy, and I got second place, and I got this really big trophy, and it was really fun, and my parents are really proud of me because they think the trophy is really big, and it weighs a ton, and they put it in my hand, and I sat there holding it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this thing is really heavy. And then, you know, everybody's like clapping and whatever, and I'm sitting there just still holding it, being like, you could kill somebody with this thing. And I was like, why was that the first thought process that I had? So got second place, really happy about it. Went back to the gym the next day, and just did some light training, nothing too crazy, just kind of resting my body after the competition. Had a week of training with all my amazing T-Rex athletes, and they were all super proud and impressed, and they were asking how I was celebrating the win. And it kind of made me stop for a second because I hadn't really stopped to celebrate the win. I really hadn't. And so I really thought about that for that whole week, about kind of slowing down and celebrating the wins. And I sent a message to my T-Rex athletes. We're all in like a nice little WhatsApp group together. And I was like, okay, guys, like, what was the last thing you celebrated and how did you celebrate it? I need some ideas to help me celebrate my win. And they came back with so much cool stuff. And, you know, different things. Some of my favorites include buying yourself like a piece of jewelry to celebrate the win. So that way, kind of every time you wear that jewelry, you remember the time that you did that really cool thing. I really like that, and I think that's going to be a way that I celebrate my win, is by buying a piece of jewelry and being like, yeah, I pulled a fucking truck. I pulled 3 trucks. Like, this is so cool. And I'll just wear that little piece of jewelry, and that'll remind me of it. Another way that I'm planning to celebrate my win is to go to bottomless brunch with my friends on Sunday or Saturday or whatever, and I love a theme, love a fancy dress, or as the Americans say, costume party. And so I want to go to bottomless brunch, and I want us to all dress up like truck drivers. And this is my dream, preferably with mustaches or facial hair of some kind. Nothing is held back. That is my dream. Go to bottomless brunch with all of my friends, and we all dress up like truck drivers. And that's how we're going to celebrate my win. So think about training for stuff, think about training hard, and then when you win, as you inevitably will because you've trained your ass off for it, you've worked hard, and hard work always pays off. When you guys get the thing that you've worked hard to get, don't forget to celebrate it. I want to see some bottomless brunches. I want to see some jewelry. I want to see some events. I want to see some posts. I want to see some pride. Have some pride that you did the thing because you worked hard for it. Reap the rewards of it. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Everything hurts and I'm dying.
So guys, in conclusion, find places where you're encouraged to be bigger instead of smaller. Put yourself outside of your comfort zone and understand that everybody feels fear and everybody feels unconfident at times, even fabulous confidence coaches like myself. Feel the fear and do it anyways. Feel the fear and do it anyways. You might just surprise yourself, like I did. Like, I went out there and I was shitting my pants and I did really well, and I'm really proud of myself. And train hard, work hard. Hard work always pays off. You know, put some effort into it, and then if or when you get the thing that you've worked hard to do, celebrate it. Celebrate the wins. You deserve to celebrate yourself. You deserve to have some pride in your hard work. It's not arrogant. It's not flashy. Like, you deserve to be proud of yourself for working hard to achieve a goal, and you deserve to celebrate that. So celebrate the wins, and hard work always pays off.
Thank you guys so much for listening and watching Everything Hurts and I'm Dying. I'm your host, Julia Kraus. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at questions@ehaid.com. That's questions@ehaid.com. You can also check out our website at everythinghurtsandimdying.co.uk or ehaid.com. If you want to get a hold of me, you can check out my Instagram at TRexTraining20. That's at TRexTraining20. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Have a great rest of your week.